In a certain kingdom, there lived a king and queen with 3 daughters of surpassing beauty. The youngest, Psyche, possessed a loveliness so extraordinary that pilgrims began to worship her as a new incarnation of Aphrodite, the goddess of love. Neglecting the true goddess's altars, they paid homage to the mortal princess instead. This invoked the wrath of Aphrodite. Fuming with jealousy, she commanded her son Eros, or Cupid, to pierce Psyche with one of his golden arrows, making her fall in love with the vilest, most wretched creature he could find. But when Eros beheld Psyche, he was so stunned by her beauty that he pricked himself with his own arrow and fell desperately in love with her. Meanwhile, Psyche's divine beauty became a curse. Men admired but never dared to marry her. A desperate oracle, secretly manipulated by Eros, declared she must be clad in funeral garb and left on a mountain peak to wed a monstrous serpent. Her sorrowful parents obeyed. But Zephyrus, the west wind, acting on Eros's command, gently carried Psyche from the cliff and set her down in a serene, hidden valley. There she found a magnificent palace of otherworldly craftsmanship. Invisible attendants tended to her every need, and a soft, whispering voice welcomed her as its mistress. That night, in the profound darkness, her unknown husband came to her. He was gentle, loving, and passionate, but he made one stern condition. She must never attempt to see his face. He was, he explained, a divine being whose true form must remain a mystery. Psyche lived this way for some time, enveloped in luxury and nocturnal companionship, yet increasingly tormented by curiosity and loneliness. When she begged for a visit from her sisters, Eros reluctantly agreed, warning her not to heed their advice. Zephyrus brought the sisters to the valley. Jealous of Psyche's opulent palace and unseen husband, they planted a seed of poisonous doubt. They convinced her that her husband was indeed the monstrous serpent of the oracle, fattening her up to devour her and her unborn child, for Psyche was now with child. They urged her to conceal a lamp and a sharp knife to unveil and slay him as he slept. Tortured by fear, Psyche succumbed. That night, after her husband slept, she lit the lamp and raised the knife. But instead of a monster, the golden light fell upon the most beautiful being she had ever seen, the winged god of love himself, Eros. Overcome with trembling awe, she let a drop of hot oil fall upon his shoulder. He awoke in pain and betrayal. Seeing the lamp and knife, his heart broke. "Love cannot live where there is no trust," he declared, and fled, leaving Psyche alone with her devastating regret. The god and his palace vanished. Psyche, now truly alone and heavy with child, wandered the earth in search of her lost love. Desperate, she eventually offered herself as a servant to the vengeful Aphrodite, hoping to appease her. The goddess, seeing her chance, set Psyche 4 seemingly impossible tasks. First, she had to sort a colossal heap of mixed grains, wheat, barley, millet, and poppy seeds, by nightfall. An army of ants, taking pity on her, completed the task. Next, Aphrodite commanded her to fetch golden wool from a flock of fierce, sun-grazing sheep. A sympathetic reed whispered to her to collect the wool caught on brambles after the sheep had passed at dusk. For the third task, she had to fill a crystal jar with black water from the source of the rivers Styx and Casitas, high on an unscalable cliff. Zeus's own eagle, remembering a debt to Eros, swooped down and filled the vessel for her. Finally, the enraged goddess demanded the unthinkable, a day's worth of beauty from Persephone, queen of the underworld. This was a covert death sentence. Instructed by a talking tower, Psyche journeyed to the realm of Hades, bribing the ferryman Charon and pacifying the 3-headed dog Cerberus. Persephone gave her a sealed box. On her return, with Eros's love almost within reach, Psyche's fatal curiosity surfaced once more. Thinking she could take a tiny portion of the divine beauty for herself to please Eros, she opened the box. But it contained not beauty, but the Stygian sleep of death, and she fell into a corpse-like slumber. Eros, his wound healed and his love undiminished, had been searching for her. He flew to her, wiped the sleep from her eyes, and returned it to the box. Then, armed with a new resolve, he flew to Olympus and pleaded his case before Zeus. The king of the gods, moved by their story and wishing to settle the chaos, summoned Aphrodite and granted his blessing. He gave Psyche ambrosia, making her immortal. Thus, Eros and Psyche were formally united in a celestial wedding. Their union bore a daughter, whom we know as Voluptus, or pleasure. And so, the tale that began with envy and curiosity ended with a profound truth, that the soul, Psyche, through trial and suffering can achieve eternal union with love, Eros, and from that union springs true, everlasting delight.